this is the board. Now you're probably noticing that this board is already set up, and you're right. There are 32 tokens on this board right now. But you're asking, how do I know where these tokens go? Because there is going to be different every single game. It's actually pretty simple the way you decide. Basically what you do is you play a game of Twilight Imperium. Whoever wins gets to pick one token and place it wherever they want on the board. Then you play Twilight Imperium again. Whoever wins that game gets to pick another token to put out, and you go until all 32 tokens are out on the board. Now, generally it takes about 8 or 9 months to set this game up, but people have done it in record time of 2.5 months. It all depends on how dedicated you are to playing this game. On your turn, what you do is you roll a d12 and a d20. I've rolled a 13 and a 6. That means that I'm going to place 13 pieces across the top of the board and 6 down. These are the pieces you're going to use for that, and you can choose whatever combination of them you want, but it has to be the numbers that you roll. Once your pieces are on the board, you see where they intersect, and that is where your character goes. And whatever country you land on, you take whatever action for the token that is on that country. Now, let's talk about the tokens. The mountain token. If you land on one of those, your city goes up on the cult track. Nothing happens along your way up the cult track, but once you get to the top, according to Kentucky and New Jersey state law, you can legally start your own cult. If you land on one of these red tokens, you have to battle the top creature of this deck of cards here. If you land on a country with a letter on it, you take that letter and you replace it with a new one. And you win the game once you can use all the letters you have to spell Brad Pitt's name. If you land on one of these 5 acres, like our character is here, you have to draw a Farmer's Fate card. Now, these do not pertain to the game, they actually pertain to real life. So this one here says you have to pay $2,500 if you don't own a harvester. Now, it doesn't matter who you pay that money to, but until you pay someone $2,500, you cannot continue playing the game. Alright, let's talk about the moon base. If you land on one of these moon bases, you get to pick one of your commanders to send to the moon. On the moon, you get 1 point for each colored section that you have a commander in. But depending on which section you're in, you can only eat that color of food. So if you're here, you can only eat oranges. If you're here, you can only eat lettuce. And if you're here, you can only eat a food that's purple. Also, at the beginning of the game, each player is going to place out their wager chip. And if you land on your opponent's wager chip, you have to answer the top question of the top card of the trivia card deck. This question, for example, says 1.2 million people lived in Detroit in 1980. How many people lived in Detroit in 2005? If you get this question right, you get to throw it at the moon, and anything that falls off the moon is out of the game. If you get it wrong, you lose. Whichever commander you choose, you can now use any coins you've gotten during the game to buy and to play the respective command card for the commander that you have placed on the moon. Another thing to keep in mind, whatever country of color that you land on determines whether or not you turn the temperature in the room up or down. If it's more of a brownish color, the temperature in the room has to go up 5 degrees. If you land on more of a bluish color, the temperature in the room has to go down 5 degrees. Now, if you land on one and you can't really decide if that's more of a blue or a brown, you can play a game of Twilight Imperium and whoever wins gets to decide. And you win once you guess who the other person's car is.